Welcome to Band Scamps, an in-depth look at albums and releases by West Michigan artists. Hosted by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez. This week on Band Scamps, Dan and Julio review Forbidden Fruit by Kissin and local band Ask to Leave by Sugartone Noise Company.
Welcome to Band Scamps, Episode 5. I'm your host, Dan Fisher, with my co-host, Julio Gomez.
Hey, Dan. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Again. I'm good, man.
It is February 25th. It's a Thursday of 2021. Current time is 5:04.
5:04. I have 5:03.
Do you? Mine's not like attached to anything. It's just like I just put it in. So
it's like you. It's a free spirit.
Exactly.
We are here. This is episode 5. I can't believe we're at episode 5 already.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
We just taped our episode 1 recap. We are about a month on a delay as far as episodes and recaps, and I think that went really well. If you're still listening, you're a Band Scamps fan. This is gonna
yeah, you're a band stan.
You're a band stan.
A stan scamp.
Band scam. Band scamp stan. Okay.
Yeah, if you have a good idea for what you want to be called as stands, let us know at bandscamps@gmail.com.
Do you think do stands want to be called stands, or is it offensive?
Yeah,
I think it's complimentary.
I say like I'm a stand for things.
You did say you were a stand for something. What was it? I interrupted you on the thing.
Yeah, what was it? I think I'm a stand for...
Or maybe, no, I saw that Josiah said he was a Sennheiser stan.
Oh, that's right.
I'm kind of a Joan of Arc stan, but it stops at like 2008.
Yeah.
Or like
I'm a Mike Kinsella stan for sure.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I
like Dylan. I think I might be a Dylan stan, but
yeah, you're definitely a Dylan stan.
I don't really have a whole lot of respect for a lot of his 80s and 90s and modern stuff. Although I listened to Triplicate recently, and that, have you heard any of that?
Mm-mm.
Brand new. He did a triple album.
That sounds insane.
It's all like jazz ballads.
Dang.
So yeah,
is he just playing piano, or is it
I don't think he plays.
Or is he just singing?
I think he just sings. I don't think he plays anything.
his hands look so weird. I feel like Bob Dylan has like super little and like brittle hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm probably a stan of that. Let me think of what you are a stan of. I don't know. The Boss.
Yeah, for sure. The Boss. I'm definitely a stan for like, just like guitar pedals.
You're a staunch defender. Did my guitar pedal meme hurt your feelings?
No, I loved it.
Don't tread
funny.
on me. We need to make. I think that's a good T-shirt.
Yeah, like if you what
if you say "do tread on me" too? It's good.
Yeah, I don't know. If you can't laugh at some of that stuff, man, like you gotta. I don't know. Maybe you should just lighten up. It's like memes they're funny because they're true. You know.
Yeah.
That's just how comedy works.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be true. And I worry that some of the engagement on our page that I am putting out there might be over the edge of what is actually going on here. But I think if we can come to terms with band scams kind of being a pretty vast and varied thing, then we're okay, right? Yeah,
it's like a band scam. We're in the not the MCU, but like the scamp CU. What's our universe? Like the band.
I love it.
BSU.
Yeah, we're gonna
Scamps universe.
Yeah, and at this point we're in episode 5. So if you're still listening and you're mad we haven't gotten to the show, you're probably like, I love when they talk about nothing. So maybe we should let's get to the show.
Yeah, we have 2 really great albums to talk about today. The first one that we're going to talk about is called Forbidden Fruit, and it's by the band Kissin, and it's an EP, and it came out October 31st last year of 2020.
October 30th, Halloween. That sounds like a good release time.
I think the whole band, they're into like witchy stuff,
spooky stuff.
Yeah,
that seems to be kind of a trend with these kind of bands. Like I feel like most like listeners, I guess, go listen to these albums and then come back and right away listen to this. Right when this comes on, I can tell what we're in for a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that what we're in for is a bit of the kind of drony, psyche, surfy sound, right?
Yes. Yeah, let's just get right into it. Yeah, like first impressions, yep. Kissin Forbidden Fruit.
What were your first impressions right away? So I'm saying that I can tell what's going on with this record right away. What did you hear? And I'm talking like in the first 15 seconds.
Right, first 15 seconds, I thought the same thing. I was like, I know exactly what kind of record this is. This is going to be a surf psych record. I was surprised because the first song though does feature a guest vocalist, and I only know this from the liner notes on the Bandcamp page.
Okay, I didn't read any liner notes. I'm actually gonna stand for this.
Ooh. First 15 seconds, I was on board with your assessment too. Like, this is a very Grand Rapids-y, surfy psych rock record. I hear the reverb. I hear just the general production value of like kind of that lo-fi sound.
And you were saying that it has a different vocalist.
It has
only know
features
that
a
from the
guest
liner notes.
vocalist, and because I was reading the liner notes on the Bandcamp page while I was listening. I was actually listening to this on Spotify though. Both records today that we're talking about are on Spotify.
Who's generally the main singer of this band? Do you know?
It is Vanessa.
Vanessa. Her name's Vanessa.
Yeah.
And then who did the vocals on this first track?
It's someone named Paula Lizama.
Is that a real person or an alias, you think?
I have
it's a real
no
person?
idea.
Okay. Maybe it's someone in the band, right?
So, yeah.
Is there band liner notes of like who played what?
Yeah, there is, which that's like, it feels very kind of like 90s, which I love. Because I don't feel like a lot of people, or it feels like old school, you know, where they each
Saying who played what?
Yeah, like for each song. That's very 70s actually.
Straight up 90s. I think you're right. I think that like for a while in the 60s and 70s, it would just be like they wouldn't even say unless the person had it in their contract to tell you, you know?
Yeah.
And then the 90s, it was like blah blah blah.
You see it on a lot of records.
I like to credit everybody.
Yeah, like with like Warren Zevon records or stuff like where it's
Are you
just
listening
like
to a lot of
solo.
Warren? Are you listening to a lot of Warren Zevon records?
I do love Warren Zevon.
That's awesome.
Actually, all the music I listen to lately is just like piano jazz lately.
Nice.
Just like a lot of Bill Evans, a lot of Thelonious Monk.
So let's get back to this. I'm sorry.
Let's get back to the
I'm sorry
record. First song is called Earth Body. Already, it's like the Grand Rapids sound. And when we say the Grand Rapids sound, again, we mean kind of that reverby, surfy, psychedelic, droney vibe.
And I think maybe we can talk. Let's go into really what we're saying. But it's good that we're saying this is a Grand Rapids sound. And I think we're the first people to come out and really say this officially about this.
Yeah,
this is a Grand Rapids sound
for sure.
I think it's been on the tip of our tongues.
Yeah. And
surfy,
the Grand Rapids sound has
it's poppy.
Yeah, and the Grand Rapids sound has
talk more
changed
at
over
length
time.
later. It has changed. So, what first thoughts on the song? Do you like it?
I do, because it for almost like a nostalgic reason. It reminded me of this band I used to be into in high school called Death by Chocolate, and they used to play kind of like this loungy elevator kind of music, and it would just be this British girl like talking over it, and it was kind of cool.
It sounds like artsy, right? So, I want to know what you think about like spoken word over music. Are you into this kind of thing?
Generally not. Like, it's a very niche, and like I don't normally choose to listen to stuff like that. But
I feel like
don't hate it.
every artist kind of invariably does something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe because like poetry and music are so linked, you know?
I feel like it fits this album's vibe, but I don't think it's like necessarily like an original thought, original idea, you know?
Sure. So we have kind of this intro of spoken word with some kind of psyche rock, kind of droney, fun stuff. And it's pretty short. Mm-hmm. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics. It sounded like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what they even...
The lyrics, unfortunately, are not listed on the Bandcamp page. So
was that hard for you? Was that hard for you to follow along because of that?
Yeah, just because, and also because the general like quality of like this type of music, vocals are usually pretty buried.
I think I kind of merged that track into a different track and thought it was an intro, but now we are talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And this song sounds a little kind of sloppy to me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of part of the vibe though, the loose vibe.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have like this sounds sloppy, but it's like just cool enough to keep listening to this.
Sure.
And like I don't even hate slop, man. I think slop is fun.
I love slop, honestly.
Yeah,
That's what
and
makes a lot of music
it can be refreshing, but like I don't know if I want to be like if I want to like even think that thought out loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to
Pandora's
like
box.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to even have that enter my brain.
All right.
Sounds kind of like Wipeout.
Yeah.
Like, should it have just been a cover of Wipeout? I don't know.
Is Wipeout a good song?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Ask an 8-year-old if Wipeout's a good song.
Dude, We should ask Tony about that.
About
I feel like
Wipeout?
Tony is like a big Wipeout stan.
We could get Tony. You know, when we do this kind of stuff, we can easily just have anybody else. Like,
we should get Tony on
Tony
one
on this.
of the live streams for sure.
I think Tony right now is like doing training for firefighting shit. Track 2. This sounds like a different project.
Yeah,
entirely.
it's different. I think I really appreciate that about the record. It touched on different genres a little more than the typical psych record. This is actually more Heaters sounding than the first song.
I wrote, okay, so bringing us to, it's 100% sounds like Heaters.
Yeah.
And to an extent that if they weren't involved in making this music, I'm going to take offense to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this sounds like that band enough that I'm really hoping they helped make this.
This is going to bring to a larger topic that I have to talk about for both records.
Let's do it.
So my idea or my thought that I had with not necessarily this record, but now that you bring that up about the Heaters thing being so Heaters-y, like usually when people think about creating music, people are like, I want to stand out. I want to be different. But I'm starting to think that maybe that's not always the case, that maybe people don't want to be different. Maybe they just want to like create a sound. And is that bad? Like, should you always stand out, or is it okay to like create like a sound that you're going for, successfully get there, and then put it out?
Sure. And I think that speaks to something that I actually wanted to talk about in our recap. And I think episode 5 is the perfect time, is like, how much of music that we know is derivative?
I would
basically
say
derivative work.
Like majority of
like,
the music.
I think we're talking like 85, 90%.
I would say 90 to 95%.
I think you're right too. And so it's not that derivative works are either bad, because genre relies on this kind of communication where we're doing derivative works. It needs derivative. For blues would not exist if there was not derivative works of blues. Jazz would not exist if we weren't copying it. The kind of music we make would not exist if we hadn't, to a certain extent, copied some other bands.
Yeah, I rip off bands every day.
I think it's okay to do that, but
I think so too.
But I think if I'm interpreting you correctly, you're saying there's a certain line that is like,
I don't know,
or you are just now being made aware of the fact that some people don't try to be original.
Yeah, I think maybe that's like kind of where I'm getting at, or is I'm trying to see the other side.
Do you think that's what's happening here? Just at this moment in this record, because I think for our listeners' sake, I want to like keep it like, chronological.
Yeah.
At this point in the record, are you saying this?
No, at this point, I'm like, oh, they like Heaters.
Yeah, I'm saying that too, and I'm taking it a step further, that I think that people from Heaters were involved in this. I don't know, because I didn't read it, but it sounds like a very, very convincing.
I think they're all like friends. So
do you think they actually who's playing the guitar in this stuff?
And
why does it sound
is
all of it?
And Jen,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why does this sound so different than track 1?
I think that Vanessa has like a lot of different influences, and she's not.
No,
really
I mean like it literally sonically sounds better and more thought out and more thick and like better recorded and everything. Like, it sounds like a different thing.
Right. I think maybe this was probably recorded incrementally.
Okay.
And not in one session or continuous sessions.
Okay.
It probably was like song by song, and then they chose.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what
I
don't want to be misunderstood here. That I think that they are blatant. That this sounds so much like it that it has to be them. But now it's making me think of like, what were you trying to do here? Were you just trying to make it sound like that? And that's okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's fine. There's bands like, one of my favorite bands is the Ramones, and I can name like 5 bands off the top of my head that they're just trying to be the Ramones. That's their goal. You got Carbonas, you got Huntingtons, you got fucking Screeching Weasel, you got like, I get the Queers. Like it just keeps fucking going. Bands that just want to sound like the Ramones, and that's fine.
The Ramones are one of the greatest bands of all time. Like, why wouldn't you want to sound like them?
We've asked ourselves, like, oh, do you think that blah, blah, blah will like this from some band we like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and I think I told you, like, will blah, blah, blah freak out when we play this?
Yeah, absolutely.
If he heard us, he's going to be like, yeah. So maybe their audience is just Heaters.
Yeah, I think they share a very like the same.
Am I like harping on this too much? I don't mean to.
I think we can probably move on from that.
Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go to the next track.
Yeah, dude, you could. I feel free to just move me on.
Yeah, let's move on from that because I think it's gonna get controversial.
I think so too, and I think I'm just gonna edit a lot of that out anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I want to see.
We'll see. Yeah, maybe.
Think.
But it is. I think it's important to know at least.
Like, all I'm saying is that it sounds so much like it that I would not be surprised if they had their hand in it. And if they didn't, then you guys kind of ripped them off. I don't know what to say.
I think I was into it, and then they did the whole like tempo change thing, and that's when my eyes kind of like rolled back. I was like, all right.
Okay. So that's track 2.
Yeah. Next track is Tangerine Fingers.
This track, I feel like I've heard. Did this track come out in some form before?
Yeah, I think they put it out as a single.
A single? Was there a video maybe too, or something?
Maybe, yeah. It came out as a single, and they might have done something with Robbie for this. Like it might have been part of their live show that they did with Robbie. Mm-hmm. So,
I wrote something that happened to track 2 was I wrote like why do psych rock bands love quiet vocals so much?
I don't know. I think
why do you even sing? Why is it so quiet? Their voice is fine.
Yeah, I think actually Vanessa has a really good voice, or like interesting voice, and it's not off key. So I think it's a confidence thing.
Okay. But why? But it's a style thing. I get that.
It's a style thing for 2.
But so I mean, and maybe I just noticed. I like bands like there's a bunch of psych rock bands that influence these bands, like Brian Jonestown Massacre, for example, or even like Black Rebel, or fucking like I don't know, Oasis.
Yeah, Spiritualized.
And these bands have very loud vocals.
Yeah,
and you can hear what they say, and it guess what makes it even trippier.
Exactly.
You know.
I think that speaks to maybe just like that kind of like maybe the next level of professionalism and like the recording thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to bury your vocals, it needs to serve as an instrument then.
Right. And I suppose like I probably should have brought this with the last track is that this is more of a qualm with like track 3 improved on it. Like I can even be like, okay,
for sure.
Like, okay, this is more dynamic. You're actually trying to be heard a little more. This is a really nice vibe.
Yeah.
Track 3 was a fun vibe.
I really liked it.
It actually sonically sounded good on really small speakers.
I actually had a note about vocals being too quiet, and then I deleted that note as I got further in the record because I think they improved on that.
Okay, I think. Do you think that like changes the fact that they were too quiet at one point though? Like, I'm sorry. Do you think that you assessing that you decided they weren't too quiet? Right?
I decided that correctly. It maybe wasn't worth talking about.
Okay.
You know, as much as I planned on.
Right. I think track 1 and 2, the vocals are quite quiet.
I agree.
And what I did write that like about this kind of quiet music, I don't really understand it. I just don't understand like why are we singing and why is it so common? You know, I want to kind of find that out.
Yeah. In my personal experience, I think I've grown out of it as I've gotten more confident with the recording. But it is like for me like a confidence thing. But
this is a young artist.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
So that is not uncommon. You're right.
Yeah.
And I had a close friend who sent me a track recently, and right away I was like, this is way too quiet, the vocals. Like I don't even want to listen to this, and that's my honest opinion.
So speaking of quiet things, I actually think that the whole rhythm section is too quiet for all these songs.
Drums and bass
together.
I think you're right.
I think there's a lot of really cool rhythmic aspects, and it's too guitar centric. You know, especially if the guitar is going to be like washed out and reverby, and like create atmosphere. Like let's appreciate the groove more than. I think the drumming is actually and bass playing is actually really good, but recorded I think doesn't do it service.
I think it gets there. I think the sound of the snare drives me like bonkers. At one point, I wrote like the snare is making this hard for me, and I couldn't stop noticing it. You know, and I think that maybe the rhythm section is suffering because of the poor quality of the snare. Kind
of building off that, on just a general vibe of like the energy and rhythm of the record, I felt like it was kind of flat the whole time.
I think a lot of the record was I think with the exception of track 3 was kind of a highlight for me.
For me, it was all about the fourth one, actually, Signs and Wonders with like the flute.
I did like that. I have nice sound, easy vibe.
Yeah,
it
kind of has like that Kroongbin kind of sound.
Mm-hmm. I think that was a direction that I would love to see. I would love to see this kind of music a little bit varied, a little bit more varied in what it was trying to do.
I think it's getting there, but it's not there yet.
One of the qualms I have with psychedelic music in like the mainstream or in conventional thought is that it's always this one sound. And I would consider our band a psychedelic rock band to a certain extent. And I think that we don't fit into that kind of sound, and so we don't get noticed for that. But then bands that all you have to do is kind of be slow and like lo-fi, it's like, whoa, it's psychedelic music. Like, why? Why is that psychedelic?
Yeah, like if you think about Spiritualized, that's like, not lo-fi. It's like hi-fi.
I mean, did you feel trippy? Did it feel trippy listening to this?
No, it felt like basement-y.
Yeah. And I think that's fine for
that's
where,
okay.
Where
it has the kind of 70s kind of dry sound to it. For, like,
I think track
drums.
3 was fun. That Signs and Wonders song was fun. I love the album artwork.
Me too. I think it's
love
sick.
it. The flute in that one is great. I think it was like a flutish, like keyboard, like kind of thing. Like I think it had that.
Vanessa actually plays flute.
That was her playing flute.
That was her playing.
That's amazing
flute.
because I well done on that. I went back a couple times and listened to it. And I really couldn't tell if it was flute or if it was synthesizer, and I think that was very cool.
There's both.
Okay.
She plays flute and synth in that song.
I think, that stuff is really cool. Track 3 and 4 are the most interesting things in this record.
I agree.
I think it could have probably been whittled down to a A-side, B-side single of those two things.
Sure. So I actually want to point this out, more liner note stuff from the Bandcamp. I think this is important because it actually reflects the pandemic too. So they say,
I'm in favor of that.
These songs are an ode to curiosity, the feeling of driving through Mojave Desert alone, Sex in the Sunshine, orange orchards, a haunted summer camp, wrestling with bad brain, and the first time I saw a California wildfire with my own eyes 2 summers ago. I hope they take on their own meaning for you. Reflections welcome. Next paragraph is, in our pandemic world, instead of a release show or an unsatisfying live stream, I have created 4 listening ceremonies to follow. Find some headphones, a speaker, or a car stereo, take what you need, and leave the rest. And then she gives 3 different scenarios. The first one is water, which she says, as you listen, walk or drive to a body of water, collect one offering along the way, make contact with the water. What does it have to say? Leave one offering for the water. Second one is fire. As you listen, light a candle and place it in your space next to an object you cherish. Study the flame's movement, mirror its elegance with your earth body. And the third is air. As you listen, walk or drive with no destination in mind. Turn when you want to turn, wait for a sign, and then return when you find it. Move freely but deliberately. Oh, there's a fourth one too. Earth. As you listen, walk to the nearest park, cemetery, or wooded area. Notice the smells. They'll make you wise. Find a welcoming tree. Place your hands on it for 30 seconds and breathe.
Okay. That is pretty cool.
I think it's interesting. I think it's different. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a chance to do any of those things.
It's definitely different. I could just apply that to any piece of music ever recorded.
Yeah, I feel like I do that.
So I don't know that any of that is even helpful or like not pretentious.
Here's the thing about this too.
I want to clarify that real quick. I don't think any of that is like all that interesting or non-pretentious, but I don't think that reaching for that and failing is bad. You know what I mean? Like if you reach for artsy and hit pretentious, like, oh well.
Yeah. I think to some extent that kind of thing acts kind of like an adverb, like when you're writing, like it's forcing the listener to kind of do and feel something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Where the music should incite that, on its own.
It's almost akin to like going to a show and the band tells you to sit down.
Dude, that's the worst.
Or so the band tells you to sit down, or I don't know, or listen to this on headphones.
Or close your eyes while listening to this.
Yeah, and I Joan of Arc. I think I brought them up on a live stream or something or on today. This show.
Yeah,
they're one of their best albums. Live in Chicago, 1999. It says in the liner notes, best enjoyed through headphones. Like fucking duh. Like, do you think I'm fucking stupid?
Right.
Like, do you think I'm so dumb that I wouldn't have considered listening to it on headphones?
Maybe
like really? Some people
maybe
are.
people are. Some people only listen to music in the car or something,
Right. I think people are. And so maybe
I like the idea of kind of bringing in meditative and mindful things to while you listen to music, but I don't think that these things that she listed are necessarily like they don't need to be catered to psychedelic music. You can just do that with like literally anything.
Mm-hmm. Overall, though, I think as I listen to this, I enjoy it.
I enjoyed it too. It was more, outside of track 1 and 2, I think from 3 on, I really enjoyed the listen.
And I like track 2.
Mm-hmm. It is good.
Had I never heard like a billion things that sound just like it.
Exactly.
Like if that had never been, I'd be very impressed. And I wrote here that there's a lot of this kind of music that is popular these days.
Totally. Yeah, like the surf garage rock psych thing is cool now, and I do like some of it, but it's so one of the same.
It's becoming derivative,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of this kind of music that's popular, and it just sounds like 2-chord music. It's just like we can go back and forth 2 chords and drone and put a guitar solo over it, and then like make it sound lo-fi, and it goes back and forth, and the lyrics are like kind of pretty but reverby but too quiet, and then that's a song. Like we can do that.
Yeah, we can for sure.
And I wrote like this is fine. I was hoping to like it, and I do.
Yeah, exactly. That's a.
I was hoping to like it. I do like it. I don't know how much of it I can handle.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I think I've seen them live a couple times, and I think I was actually really pleased with at least the variety of sounds I heard in the record versus their live show. I think the live show, they kind of go for more like the psychedelic thing, and I think this was a little more.
You were pleased and surprised a little bit, maybe a little thrilled by the variation a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
I was too. And I think that track 2 and 3, like I said, or 3 and 4, I think could have been just a standalone thing. Maybe the way I would have done this is like singles only. Do like singles, and then just do that. Because as an EP, I'm not sure this is all that coherent or enjoyable. More women in rock is always amazing.
100%.
Like anything that makes that happen more, I'm 100% in favor of. And this is really marketable, I think, too.
Absolutely.
I think it can be marketable without being like super exhilarating to me personally.
For sure. Any closing thoughts on Forbidden Fruit outside of what we just said?
One thing I kind of got into, I wanted to speak to was that I said this is a very Grand Rapids-y sound.
Yeah.
And something that I think is interesting is not so much is identifying that. I mean, there is a lineage of bands that you can trace, more than a couple handfuls of bands that sound kind of like this, that are all maybe kind of friends with each other, maybe have all worked with similar producers, and it kind of just all stems from, location. And I think that the way that location influences music is really interesting. And I'm curious as to why. Why is this such a identifiable Grand Rapids sound? And it might be that, Heaters has had quite a bit of success in the underground rock scene. They're a band that, if you look at their Spotify, their plays are in a large quantifiable
they're
amount.
on like a label, like that distributes them.
They were on a label and went to a bigger label, right?
Yeah,
and that's to be expected. So I think a lot of bands are going to look up to that and be like, well, they did it, let's do that too. And maybe they do like that music, and I like Heaters.
Yeah, I love Heaters.
But I don't think I don't want to hear any other band that sounds like Heaters besides Heaters.
Yeah, like they actually created like the Heaters sound.
Yeah, I think that they took a sound that was already present in Grand Rapids and sped it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of bands that they were listening to that that were out of town from here were doing stuff like this, and I think it was already happening here. But I think that it was lacking a pop edge that Heaters like really elevated.
Yeah, for sure.
So is it just people working with people, or is there something about Grand Rapids that makes people want to play this kind of music?
I think it is the people, and I think it has to do kind of with, I think we talked about this last episode, of the idea of the younger culture. They're able to kind of, they don't really look up to the scene veterans, you know. They have the means to record albums on their own. They all help each other out.
They don't go to shows and admirize the people that maybe when we were younger, we were like, oh, this guy's the coolest guy or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. They're like, this is kind of music we're into. Like, let's all hang out. I'm going to make this type of music. You like this too, so I'll record you making that kind of music too.
So they're all operating independent of a scene, but at the same time, they're all just going to the same conclusion. Exactly.
Yeah, they have their own scene in a way.
But it is the Grand Rapids scene now.
Right. Yeah, we're not relevant anymore.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what you are insinuating that they're kind of doing their own thing, but they're not. They're all doing the same thing.
They're doing
maybe they are the scene and we're the outsiders, you know?
Yeah, I don't mean they're doing their own thing in terms of like the style of music. I'm saying they're doing their own thing, as in they don't rely on venues or older musicians to put out or be inspired by.
I think you're right, and I think that is true, and I think that did start happening like maybe around like 2005 or 6.
Yeah, I think it happened maybe even a little later, like 2009 to 2012. I think it really started.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon. So I guess overall, man, I think this is a decent record. This is a young band with room to grow. This is marketable. It's nothing too exhilarating, and they got a cute name.
Exactly. I give it. I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna give it 3 satisfying crunchy steps in the snow.
So I mean, it's hard for me to even like say because it's just tree bark. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it's just hard. It's hard to even know. And I think that one thing that I am looking forward to is just more work from this band.
Yeah.
I think that what they put out was fine, and I think it serves a purpose. I think that actually hearing more about like the kind of what we should do as people listening to it, that really turns me off.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. That's I don't know.
Yeah.
I can listen to it. I don't need to be told.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that it's like it's a fun thing to write down, but like the reality of people doing that is like pretty slim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is what I got to say. Listeners, I think let us know what you think. Send us an email at bandscamps@gmail.com. Leave a comment on our website. I found out we have Facebook comments enabled on our Libsyn website. So you can leave Facebook. You can leave a comment on your Facebook on any post. You know, so you can.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, come trash talk. We're gonna do more episode updates, all this stuff as we go.
No matter what record we're talking about, we want to have a conversation about it. And Julio and I can talk at length, but we also really enjoy talking to the listeners as well.
Yeah, I honestly want to interact with everybody because I think that you and I can just keep going and going and going and going. Eventually, I'm just going to say the same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
So,
we're going to get caught in a loop.
So if you think we missed something, please let us know. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk at length about yet another local release from 2020.
Awesome. See you then.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Band Scamps, Episode 5, Part 2.
Part 2. We just talked about Forbidden Fruit by Kissin.
And we talked great length at that, and we'd love to hear from you if you have any questions, comments. If you are an artist that wants to submit your music that you made for us to review and critique, please send us an email at bandscamps@gmail.com as well. We are going to review everything we get.
Yes.
And
all the albums that we have critiqued so far have been users or listeners submitted.
And after today's episode, that's going to be 11 albums.
That's pretty cool, honestly.
That's 11, dude.
That's a lot.
Good. That's a lot. I think if we do this right, we're going to be at over 100 albums by the end of the year. That's
a lot of music, honestly. That's more music than I listen to maybe regularly.
Right. So, and I want you to know, listeners, and we talked at great length about this on one of our recaps, and by the time this airs, we're going to have so many recaps. We are taking this very seriously and trying to engage with this content in a very serious manner. We're trying to be sensitive, and not only sensitive like with our senses, but also like with their feelings.
Sensitive, but also factual.
Because we need to base all this stuff on facts. Mm-hmm. We're going to base all this on our own experience, on our own feelings, on our own training. And we're also going to use straight up facts to explain the quality of this music.
Right. We have a unique perspective as seasoned veterans of the music scene, but that doesn't mean that other perspectives that you might have are not interesting. Like if you are an avid showgoer or are really into a certain type of music, like your opinion matters too. And like, let's talk about it. Like send us an email, leave us a comment.
Absolutely. We're into that. Let's jump right into this next record.
Before we move on, I actually want to talk about
I would love
something.
to. I'm so sorry. Please.
Because we touched about this on our first episode live stream recap. We talked about the scene and we talked about how we really try to listen to the albums outside of their context of the local scene. We just want to like study them as music, its own little thing. But we did just talk about the scene a little bit with Kissin Kate, so it will come up at times.
I think that's a good thing to point out, that we are doing our best to talk about these works as though they're standalone things, but I think that we are going to find that is impossible the more we do it, right?
Yeah. I think contextually, we just kind of we riffed on the idea of what's going on in the scene, and like I think that's as far as we need to go for it.
Are you worried that they're going to take what we said about that as a negative?
No, I just want to give the albums the justice and like respect that they deserve, and like really try to focus them as individual pieces of art outside of their location. The whole topic and process of reviewing records is so nuanced, and we're going to try our best to not bring in so much context to it, but it is ultimately unavoidable at times. And it's important to point out when it shapes your opinion. I just want to be completely transparent with our listeners and know that, like, again, along with critiquing and reviewing things, we're also learning, and the whole idea of what music criticism is a growing definition.
Yeah, it's always evolving. It's always changing. It's changed from what it used to be. I worry though about like those kind of qualifications to an artist that submits records to us that we're just trying to soften the blow for them. And I worry that sentiment is going to come off as insincere, or that you're holding back on purpose.
Right. I think, it's just, you got to find that balance.
That's fine. And honestly, I don't think that you and I are ever going to have the same personality on this podcast, and we probably shouldn't, No, and we're going to disagree. And I can just say I don't know if you need to say that, but I'm going to put it on there,
Yeah, for sure.
So, want to move on?
So, next album is called Local Band Asked to Leave, and it's by the band Sugartone Noise Company. This album came out on August 15th of 2020.
Yeah, this is another one that we don't know the people that personally that submitted. We had one, I believe, last week. Types Motel.
It was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, last week was Brandino.
Brandino and Fruit Punch.
It's like the taped in advance call-in show, on Mr. Show, trying to keep it all straight. So this band, I'm not sure how they came across us. I think through some friends, mutual friends. And thank you so much for submitting, first of all.
Thank you.
I want to say that. Thank you for putting trust in two strangers, basically, to assess your music. And I'm sure you're just like a ball of stress right now. And so we're going to just milk this for just one more second. Sugartone Noise Company Off the bat, this is a hard band name to say.
This is a hard band name to say. It makes me think of what's that band that did the song "Everybody Dance Now" or "Gonna Make You Sweat"? Who did that?
Wait, oh, CNC Music Factory?
Yeah, that's what it makes me think of. CNC Music Factory.
Everybody dance now. We could do when we set up our Only Dans, we can do a song called "Everybody Dance Everybody's Dan Now."
Everybody's Dan Now.
Yeah,
Holy cow!
There's a fantasy of mine.
Save it for the only
Everybody's Dan Now. This does have a kind of, or like Magnolia Electric Company.
Yeah.
Or like CNC Music Factory, Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yo, straight up, the song "Gonna Make You Sweat" is a bop.
The point I'm trying to get is that it's just hard. It's a hard word to say out loud. Say it 3 times fast. Sugartone Noise Company.
Sugartone Noise Company. Sugartone Noise Company. Yeah,
you did two. Yeah, you did two. Listeners, Dan's eyes rolled back into his head when he did that.
I blacked
It's so
out.
hard. So whatever. Who cares?
Anyway.
First listens, I'll go off the bat. This is more my style. I like right away. I think this record, first listens only, and I want to preface this by saying this is based on the first 15-30 seconds of this song, of this record. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Well, let's go. Okay, so let's go beyond the first 15.
No.
The first song is 25 seconds, and that's not actually.
Okay, you're right. You need to. I need to remember. Okay, track 1 is an intro.
It's an intro. It's called warm up.
Okay, you're right.
It's them warming up.
All right, first listens from the intro. It's called warm up. It's a 25-second throwaway thing, right?
It costs $1 on Bandcamp to buy that.
Is that did you write that down, like the point you wanted
No,
to make?
I didn't. But whenever bands do that, I always see if they
when it's an
pay.
intro song. Oh, you check this. You check to see if it's a pay what you want, or if you actually have to buy it.
Yeah,
That's kind of lazy, huh? It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever.
Yeah.
I was in a band once that did a little short intro song like this that was really lo-fi and beautiful in about 45 seconds, and like the singer of the band was like, "We shouldn't have done that. I think people like hear that and are like, what is this? Bye." And then like like they stop listening to your record.
I did that once with a band, but it was only like 7 seconds, and it was just the sound of a beer can opening.
I feel like that Beta Band album starts off real quiet and then it gets really loud and like blows your speakers out. You know, that's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm not going to make a decision. I get it conceptually why you would make a song that's 25 seconds long.
Exactly. Anyway, but moving on to the first song. Point Nemo.
Point Nemo. It's called Point Nemo, which I had to
Yes.
look it up because I kind of I misunderstood the lyrics. So right away, I think this is more my style.
That's kind of where I was at too, honestly.
Yeah. Were
at
you
first.
kind of like smiling after the first couple of seconds?
Yeah,
Like,
because
yeah.
I thought like immediately like power pop. I was like, oh, like Nick Lowe kind of thing.
Dude, it sounds like The Boss a little bit, man.
That's I have that written down.
Dude,
it's like this whole record is like very Boss derivative.
So I think that's I think in the first 15 seconds,
Yes.
I don't know that, but I do know that like this is definitely Bruce Springsteen-y.
Yeah.
And I thought of you. I was upstairs replanting some plants and I was listening to it. And I was kind of like, I think Dan's going to like this. This is cool, you know? This is like definitely his style. So the riff's rocking. It's poppy. It's catchy. He starts singing. And I can tell right away that I think I'm going to have a bit of a like, it's going to take some work for me to listen to this.
Yes.
And I want to qualify this with saying that this album overall, in my opinion, is very uneven in many, many ways. So I don't want what I'm going to say for the next few songs to get anyone thinking that I don't like this.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
But right away, I can tell I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. Same. I think, man.
This is going to be, I think, I want to preface this to Sugartone Noise Company. Good God. and listeners, Sugartone Noise Company. I have a terrible stutter. That's not, it might just be me having a hard time reading because it's not my first language either. But this is like going to be kind of hard to talk about for us, I think.
Yeah. I'll literally say,
and we're going to tread lightly and we're going to be sensitive. But here we go.
I will be the first to admit that I definitely do not like care for like the kind of blues rock.
So, are you getting that from the first track only, blues rock?
No, the first track was more rocking, and I was
Let's
like, all right,
let's just talk about Point Nemo as a track.
Point Nemo is, I think, the highlight of the record.
I think it's up there. I really enjoyed the song.
I think it's really good.
Even some of his vocals where I could tell, okay, this guy has a tonality of and maybe even pitch that I'm not the biggest fan of. But there was some moments of this where I was like nod my head along and I was like, yup. It's pretty long.
Did you get also like a 90s kind of like alternative vibe?
Yeah, definitely.
Me too.
Definitely. This song is full of different vibes.
Dude, it's a rocker.
Point Nemo is a strong song. I think it's a single, and I think it's appropriately placed on this record. I would even see it being like track 2 in a way where like that track 1 was gone. There was some other song that Point Nemo was track 2. You know? It's a little long for my taste, but other than that, I think it's a really, really successful song.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the record out.
It's a wonderful way to start the record. And that kind of brings me back to my first thing I said, where this is a very uneven record.
Yes.
This is, I wrote, this is more my style. This is very bossish. Dan's going to like this. And I write, I'm not crazy about these vocals, but they are sort of growing on me. I wish the vocals were louder. So I even say like, I don't like these vocals, but man, I wish they were louder. And then I start noticing some stuff while the recording. The bass kind of stood out to me a little bit too much. I play fast too, but this just needed a little bit of nudging. I think on this track, there's some like cleanup things that maybe a more skilled ear could have handled.
My guess is that they probably played this live together in a room.
Yeah. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
The bass being a little fast, or maybe like the bass and the drums were done together.
Yeah.
The recording. The recording is fine, but once I noticed that bass. That bass was off, like noticeably off, and just like needed to be nudged. Then I couldn't stop listening to it, and it made me pick out other things from the recording that I think became more and more obvious as annoyances as the next few tracks go on.
This was actually recorded by Rick Johnson.
Well, I can imagine Rick being a very hands-off producer. Have you recorded with him?
He's very hands-off.
Have you've recorded with him?
Yeah.
So I can't speak at all to Rick's recording, but I know as a sound guy, he's hands off to a frustrating degree in my opinion. Like where I'd ask him, "Am I too loud, too quiet?" And he told me it didn't matter, which I know is not true.
Yeah. Well, so he's.
I think, or maybe it is, and he just needs to bullshit to me better. And it
doesn't matter because he's got it. Like that's what he means by that.
Exactly, and I think that I've heard some records that Rick has done that have been very good.
Yeah,
and I very much enjoyed. So, did you work with what band?
Oh, I just recorded guitar with him for a Sharkanoid.
Okay, so. Him being so hands off will answer that question. I'm actually surprised this was done with Rick Johnson.
Me too. I was surprised.
That's very
It's
surprising.
pretty like garagey for. Considering it's by Rick's
polished. I thought it was kind of light sounding. You think Rick's stuff is polished?
I think it's like cleaner sounding than this, but that could have just been like the guitar tone of the personal tone choices that they made.
That changes a whole lot of things for me. Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah. This is the liner notes they're.
Man, I gotta read liner notes.
Yeah, listeners, if you're not on the liner notes game, I think it offers a really unique perspective. If you're like a real nerd like I am,
like I'm totally like willing to admit when I'm like not doing this very well, and I think that you're gonna be better at this than I am. But I'm gonna be doing all the tech crap and stuff more than you, so it's not gonna matter.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? So you just gotta go ahead and correct me when I'm like not when I didn't do my own homework on it. So
no, you're good.
This is track 2 then. Yeah, I think that this was great. I liked it. And then track 3 comes in, and I wrote like, where did that vibe go?
Yeah. I think by track 4, even like I was like, I know what the rest of the records will sound like. But I will say I was wrong.
100%. And that's why I wanted to preface this with 100% wrong.
Yeah, I was way wrong.
That's awesome that you're on the same page as me, because I came back to this. This is I listened to it right as I was setting up for the final time. Well, I was setting up for the live stream we did earlier, and I was like, "Whoa, Like I had to sit through one thing that I didn't like, and then all of a sudden I was like, I am really liking the rest of this record.
Yeah.
But let me talk about track 2. Like this is like Arrows or track 3. This is track 3, song 2, track 3. It's called Something to Say. And I want that last vibe back. This is way too Aerosmithy for me. I think I'll get back to this one later. Oof, I'll get back to this, I think. That's when I turned it off. This track 3 made me turn this record off.
Let me listen to it again real quick.
It takes a while. Go ahead and give it a second.
I actually like this one.
Dude, really? Wait till it goes to the... We're going to keep this on the podcast. This is so funny.
Yeah. Not the vocals.
Okay, well, that's the whole song.
Well, I think like the music of it is like kind of has.
Okay, fine.
It's derivative of like Black Keys.
It's derivative.
Yeah, we're gonna be using that word.
This whole record is like derivative mashup.
It really is.
At least for the first half of it is derivative mashup.
I'll say this: I have a note in my phone right here that says
is it about track 3?
No, it just says that this whole album is very local spins friendly.
Okay, I think you're right. This is like. Okay, I don't like this at all.
Yeah,
I wrote this vibe makes no sense. I'm skipping the rest of the song.
I think it works actually.
Okay,
like after like.
I don't mean to laugh at that,
but like I think it works like in the way that like in the way I thought the record was going, and then when it went, before I heard the rest of the record. I was like, all right, this isn't like my thing, but like this is on par.
You thought it was where I was gonna go.
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is what they do.
I don't think you're wrong about that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so fun. It's so funny thinking of you sitting there thinking of like, yep, this is where this record was supposed to go.
I was like, okay, like this makes sense. Like
this is where it's supposed to go. Okay, yeah. I turned the record off. I wrote, I'm gonna get back to this one, I think. And I came back and I said, oof, don't like that at all. This makes no sense. Skipping the rest.
You said I made it to track 6, and I thought to myself, he made it that far.
That was I made it to track 6 on the second try. So at that point, I didn't.
None of this is like going in the podcast. And
it's all going in. And I'm gonna clarify that this is a very uneven record, and I don't want you, the listener, or the band, to get it twisted that I didn't like this record.
Yeah,
but I don't like these the first like track 3, 4, 5. Maybe even 6, I think are just so bad. And
I just think it's like dad rock.
Yeah. Okay, track 4. This song was sort of cool. This song takes a real weird turn at one point. Like
I was not ready for that.
Does it get faster? Or no, that's not a different song.
That's a different song.
Okay, it takes a real weird. What happens in it that it gets so weird?
I don't know.
Okay, so I wrote this song better be cooler. I'm gonna have to come back. This next song better be cooler, or I'm gonna have to come back to this record a different time. And I wish the production was better.
I'll say this: my experience listening to this and it being like so disjointed, and then like the record being called "Local Band Asked to Leave" did not help.
Yeah, I get the joke, but
it's a funny joke.
It was like too real.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Which all the best jokes are,
Yeah, like I would love to know if there's a backstory to that.
I in my experience being in local bands, I would not be surprised. They've been around long enough to where they played enough shows that I'm sure they were. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this recording is pretty whatever, but I bet these songs sound sort of like this live.
Yeah.
And I think that probably
it's long, it's like
what the production happened here. I bet they had all their parts that they write, and they had them rehearsed, and they went to record them, and they did them part by part by part, perfect, except for maybe the bass and drums the first time, and that was the record.
Yeah.
There's only a little bit of creativity stuff in here. I don't know. It's these tracks were a kind of a slog.
This is like I'm having like funny memories here because I'm forgetting like how different each song is.
They're all really different. Every song is really going for a different vibe.
Yeah.
I kind of wrote, I think track 4, I wrote, oof, this chorus, this bridge sucks, next song. So it's like, it's kind of just like, ooh, I don't know. Track 5, I wrote, is this band just trying shit? So exactly what you said. It sounds like
Yeah.
they're just. It's so varied. It's
Yeah.
so varied. Track 3, 4, and 5 are so different in variation. And then I write here like track 2 got my hopes up so hard for this record.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, same. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a power pop record. This is gonna be like The Knack, or like again, like Nick Lowe or whatever.
I was expecting track 2 to be like, there's more good to come. That's
Yeah.
even better than this.
Me too.
And I that didn't quite deliver. But
No.
things I think after track 5, I think kind of take a turn. I wrote like that vibe, that track 5 vibe. It's so different, and it's not even a good vibe. It's a kind of a garbage vibe.
Which is like the ballad.
Well,
Is that like 6 or 7?
I think that was,
Or is it 8?
Oh man, there's track 6 and on get very weird on this album.
Yeah.
like and props to Sugartone, because like this is like I could go off about this whole record. It's just so varied and kind of bizarre. Like low key bizarre,
Yeah, it's like psychedelic almost in that way.
I could not handle this record on mushrooms or acid or
No.
something. And maybe that's true psychedelia,
I will say this, that they tried out a lot of different styles, but like they're at least consistent, I think maybe to a fault, about like their tones though. Like you're trying different styles, but you're kind of keeping the same kind of like guitar tone. And I feel like if you're gonna try different styles, you really you gotta like alter your sound a little
It kind of sounds like they're trying to find their sound, which I don't hate, and you have to do. Like, okay, we get into track 6 now, and this kind of sounds like Van Halen almost, and I'm like, hey, like this
Right,
is
let's go.
almost, I was like, and I was like kind of like stomping around doing some dishes, and I was like, right,
Yeah,
dude,
dude, that's a rocker.
That is. We were talking like glam rock.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, he needs to lean into this way more.
Yeah, dude.
like because he does it a couple of it, but
He's a great guitarist. He can play.
There's I think he can. I don't know. I think, man, I hate having to like judge someone's guitar playing. You know what I mean? Because there's so many facets. I think he's competent. I think he's competent. I did write there's a lot of good guitar goodies on here that are really nice. I think overall it's uneven, just like the rest of the record. But I did write there's some good stuff in here. There's some cool guitar stuff. So this Van Halen thing, what I'm saying, he needs, if you're gonna mimic these styles, why not lean into it and like take your fucking shirt off, put a cucumber in your pants, and be Van Halen? You know what I mean? And you don't have to be. You could be the guy from Sugartone Noise Company. Well, I don't know who you are. I know who Van Halen is, and I know how they do things.
Exactly. So this goes back to my talking point that we touched on a little bit with Kiss and Kate, but what's setting them apart from other bands, and do they want to be set apart from different bands?
I don't think this band has a well thought out agenda or
I don't think so
or
either.
plan.
Yeah.
I think there's some guys maybe that got together and make music. We're hoping to like maybe get a band going and play some shows, and the pandemic hit, and it's like, bye.
Yeah. It's music.
And that sucks. That fucking
Music
sucks.
is so interesting in a way, because I really think that everyone has a unique voice that deserves to be heard, but just because it's just your voice doesn't make it that's not enough to make it special.
No, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, totally. And I think that you should still release that music anyway and find out.
Yeah,
if it is.
absolutely.
You're never going to know if it is that music until you release it.
Exactly.
And I can tell you from my experience that in local bands here, there's been quite a few, I think, decently successful bands in Grand Rapids that kind of came out of nowhere and kind of just were runaway success. Heaters, we talked about them, was one of them. Lippies was one of them. Fucking, like, there's just these bands that just all of a sudden, like, just do really, really well. Stepdad years ago.
Oh, yeah.
These are bands that just like maybe, La Dispute. I can keep going. These bands that have nothing to do with anything except for kind of being their own original, unique entity that got big.
Exactly. And there's a lot of different elements playing into that, but
so it can happen. But I don't know if this band has any of those kind of lofty goals.
Right. Yeah. Does this band
Nor do you
want to
need
be
them.
big?
Nor
Or do
do
they
you need
just
those
want to
goals.
put out music and kind of like play, Founders a couple times and then call, and they're cool with that.
when I was listening to that song, this is where the record takes a turn for me. I thought I had the track after this, but it's actually, I think this Van Halen song is where I start to be like, okay. And if I was at a bar
Yeah.
and I was drunk, just chilling, and this band went on and played that song, I'd probably go to the front and be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And so
Totally.
And so that's not a failure.
No.
Maybe I wish
makes me want to crush a Coors
I think
Light.
I just wish it was better.
Yeah.
Which is actually a compliment.
Right.
Do snare drums ever sound good?
No.
Okay, good. I wrote that too. I wrote, do snare drums ever sound good?
There's never been a good sounding snare ever.
There's some kind of cool stuff on this album though, man.
Yeah. My favorite song isn't Until Later, but so we'll get to
let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Showtime Joe.
I think that what happens, there's so many cool ideas on this record,
Yeah.
but they're presented in a way that I'm just not really into. And it does start feeling like a derivative mashup.
Yeah.
Like literally like girl talk, but only derivative stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of mashed
It's
one
got
after
that
another.
like, I mean, it's all like so, Brucey, but like not like they're trying to do what like it has the energy of like the river, but not. It doesn't have the energy of the river. It has like the style of the river, but it doesn't have the energy. And the energy of the river, it was all about Bruce trying to capture his live energy onto recorded music, and I don't think they got there with this.
It doesn't like it doesn't sound like live music to me, but it does sound like
Yeah.
this was probably what this sounds like live.
Yeah.
So there's this Showtime Joe song I have on here too. This is not authentic at all. I don't
Is
know
this
what
like the ballad?
I don't know.
No, that's commercial music.
The BGV's got cool. There's some kind of nice guitar stuff. I don't like the tone. It kind of sounded like Tom Petty a little bit in a way.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
I think that there's some really cool stuff. Even though I don't like the song, there's some really cool stuff lurking under the surface.
it's just kind of those songs that like you would hear like on like a Toyota-thon commercial. You know what I mean? Like it's very commercially friendly.
Is this the one where it like kind of like changes vibe entirely?
Let's find out.
Like the last like 350.
Yeah. What is
Why
that?
was this not the song?
Dude, this is cool. Yeah, dude, this is some Billy Joel.
Why
stuff
is
right
this
here.
not
This
the
is
song?
tight.
Why do I have to wait for 4 minutes into a song to hear the good part?
Right.
And that's it.
Right. All right.
That's the good part. So yeah, this is the best song on the record so far.
Yeah, just those last the last bits.
That's the best part of the record is the throwaway end part of a song that they thought didn't need to be the whole song.
I think
that makes me question the whole record at this point.
interesting.
Because I hear that and I'm like, well, they know how to make good music. Like, why didn't they choose to do it?
I'll say this. I think by like these middle songs, I was kind of like passively listening. Yeah, because it was like so. I was just like so.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Leading up to that point, I am in the same boat. But
Yeah.
when that changed, when the Van Halen song came on and then this one came on, I was kind of like, okay. And that end kind of Bowie breakdown, Elton
Yeah.
Johnny, like, what the hell, guys?
Yeah.
Like I wrote, what the hell? Like I feel like angry. Like why did you make your best song on the record a 30-second outro?
I think the ninth song is like my favorite.
Okay, so
We'll get there.
is this his master's voice?
This is like I think the ballad that I keep on referring to. Hold on, let me listen. No, it's not.
Yes, this is his master's voice. I have a lot to
Yeah.
say about this one. I think you're a little fucked up. I think you like the track after it.
Yeah,
Really?
I like Strange Bedfellows.
Okay.
So his master's voice.
Okay.
is
This
kind of-
is his master's voice. I have here. I like where this is going.
Yeah,
Weird song.
I think it would have fit really well on No Masters.
Really, I wrote.
You know?
I wrote Brother Wolf.
Yes,
I have Brother
thank
Wolf
you.
written right here. I said I like where this is going. I wrote this could have been a good EP. You know, this could have been a really good
Yeah.
EP. This could have been a fantastic EP.
Yeah.
You take these metal songs and put them all together.
Right.
So I wrote. So I have a whole thing here. This is sort of not my vibe, but I'm having fun. This is a good song number 3. This could have been a good song number 3 on
Yes.
on an EP. This is sort of about slavery, with black sounding black background vocals. And this is sort of 70s in a way that on one level is weird, another is smart, and then weird again. But if they know what they're doing, it could be cool. This really depends on the intent in this case. So this song sounds so much like one of these weird 70s songs about racial injustice that are actually racist in themselves. So it kind of sounds like that Cherokee people. Like that song seems like it's like in favor of Native Americans, but it's also racist.
It's super racist.
So that's what I think this is kind of going for. Now I want to qualify this. If they are aware that they are doing this and playing with this notion of like, oh yeah, in the 70s, these kind of songs were a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're playing with. Then these guys are geniuses.
Yeah.
And if they're not, they're sort of racist.
Right.
So like,
yeah.
I don't know if there's middle room for this.
I mean, in some ways, it's just like white guys playing the blues kind of racist.
Like I think I'm giving it such a benefit of the doubt that like if this is a commentary on the way that's because this is all such derivative music mashup anyway that if this is just more of like a nod to like a song like Cherokee People or like whatever, there's all that one especially, but there's like all these weird songs about racism in the 80s and 70s that were kind of tone deaf, but are like woman is the N-word of the world, like a song like that. Like it's trying to be good, it's trying to be whatever, but it's just straight up racist. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it's like I wonder if this song was trying to do that, and if it is, then like it's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think they were.
Yeah, but did you like the song?
I thought it was. I was like, oh, the record's on like. Making a turn now for like, better. I was like, all right.
It did, yeah. It's a weird song, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's like one of the better ones of the record.
Whatever. So now we go to Strange Bedfellows.
Yeah. Why did I like this one so much? Hold on.
It's good.
Yeah, like it's just like good. It's just a good song.
Why is this at the end of the record?
I know, like they're like here. I was like, oh, they finally like now they know what Bruce Springsteen sounds like that.
It sounds like Bruce Springsteen and Bowie together, right?
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is like it's like I was like passively listening, and then like that song came on, and I was like, this is tight. This is Bruce.
That's like partially what makes me think it's like it would be a good EP.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
like you put
Cut the Baby Fat.
Whatever. What was the first one? Poor Nemo.
Point Nemo.
I think he's saying Poor Nemo.
I think he said Porn Nemo, and I was like,
Porn Nemo.
Easy.
That'd be cool.
Easy,
buddy. Easy, buddy. We're rated R, not NC-17. Yeah, put that one on. Put the Van Halen sounding one. Put his
master's voice.
His master's voice is so weird.
And then Strange Bedfellows.
Yeah, I wrote. What are all these songs after all that bad shit?
Yeah.
like I don't know how to. I think I'm after having said that like. This record is so uneven, and I actually like some of the stuff that first stuff was so bad. Like, and now that we're here, and if you're still listening, I can just say that was bad music. In my opinion.
Yeah, I am thinking like dad rock. I
just don't know. I think their instincts were so off. Like I think they were they kind of hid the other stuff that they're like, oh, no one's gonna like this stuff, and that's actually the good stuff.
Right.
This song's good. It's Bowie as shit.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a dual guitar, right? Like a 12 string or something.
Dude, I just love that jangly ass piano. Like I'm all about that.
Yeah, I wrote I like this part of the record. What an odd choice, and I want to know the reasoning. Like I would love to have the main people in this band on the recap of this episode just to ask them like what was going through your mind.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. We've been podcasting for a few hours now, so I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling like exhausted a little bit.
That's fine. We're getting through it, man.
We're good. Yeah, we're fine. This is still fun, but it's just like, man,
that's a great song, man.
I think. Oh, I also wrote that this music is like good for Festival of the Arts.
100%. It's gonna be good for
like, you got like a big ass turkey leg or like some deep fried Oreos, and you're like, all right.
It is a lot. I think that this record could have been shorter.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and there's two more tracks left, right?
2 more tracks.
And the last one, I think I was just done with this album.
I think let me listen to the Pagan song real quick.
Pagan song is the one that I wrote. The dual guitar was dope.
Yeah.
Pagan song is good too.
Yeah. Yeah, this sounds like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like that 12-string vibe.
You guys, like, why did you hide these songs at the end of the album? Okay, so
but Blue Jay Calling is just like the ender, like big solo thing.
Ender,
I was like, all right, whatever.
I don't know about this, and in a way, I'm glad this song is not good.
Yeah,
because I would be so confused.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if they really decided to put every good song at the end of the record except for the first real song, that would make no sense.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's man.
Will you listen to any of this ever again?
No.
Not even Point Nemo?
No, probably not.
Really? I like that one. I could see like I would even like sing that song. You know,
I think for me it's just so derivative of The Boss. I'm just gonna listen to The Boss.
Right. I think I would. Yeah, I could see that. And I don't even like The Boss that much.
Yeah.
Like you are way more of a fan of him than I am.
I'm a stan.
Yeah, you're a Boss stan.
I'm a Boss stan for sure.
Yeah, and
I bet these guys are Boss stans.
I think you're right. I think their influences are 100% obvious.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't a bad thing necessarily.
No, it's not. I don't know. I think that this was a record that is very, very, very uneven. Mm-hmm. And I think if this record was half as long with only the good songs, it could potentially have been great.
Yeah.
Maybe not great. Maybe good. Maybe noticeable.
Yeah.
As it stands right now, I think it's definitely a kind of a passover.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing that we did talk about with Kissin' Kate too, but we'll talk about this right now, is like, is this album successful and what it's trying to do? Good point.
Let's do Kissin' Kate right now. Okay. We have to talk about the recording.
Yes.
How do you feel about the recording of this record?
I thought that I really actually like the really dry kind of like 70s drum sound, but I think it took away from the energy.
Yeah.
Of it. And like there was like no like dynamics to the drumming, you know.
I think it was too varied for me to like really appreciate it as a collection of music. You know what I mean? Like the recording qualities, it was really, really patchwork. And like sometimes you just got to make do with what you got, but there is something to be said about cohesion within the recording quality.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not like it doesn't have to all be good, but if it's all consistent, it's going to be better than if some goods or some bad. Like track 2 sounded noticeably sonically better.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cohesively sounding. Okay. I thought it all sounded, but and cohesive in the way that it sounds like it was home recorded.
Like the track 2 to me sounded like it was like done at a studio by different people, like straight up.
Yeah, maybe it was. You know.
Yeah.
You know, they're all friends with like Austin, I think. You know, so maybe Austin recorded it.
You know, I that was something that crossed my mind. Mm-hmm. Anything else about the recording? I think the snare.
No.
I think the snare also drove me crazy in that song. But I think I'm just going to say that about every single record that we do.
Yeah. Well, we already determined that there's no good sounding.
There is no good sounding snare. So if I don't like your snare,
listeners, if you have a good sounding snare,
please send it to us.
Send it to us. We'll probably say it doesn't sound good.
We'll use it, and if it does sound good, we'll use it in everything.
Yeah, we will literally replace all our music in
every snare.
Yeah, we'll just that sweet snare sound.
That's probably what's holding most of us back. Is that
I'll say this is that whenever I produce music now because I use like a drum machine, in order to get like an even presentable snare sound, I usually have to layer multiple samples together.
Good tip.
Yeah,
I mic'd. I did some hip hop. I did a hip hop track, and I mic'd both the outside of the kick drum and the inside of the kick drum. Like,
you know,
right by the beater.
When you mentioned that to me, I actually started using that tip too.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. I thought you did a really good job with those.
Thank you. That was my first hip hop track. I think it turned out good. So recording quality of this one, I think we kind of are like,
we kind of touched on this.
We're kind of mad about it a little bit, but I think it probably sounds just like them, and I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think that the problems that I have with the recording have like probably nothing to do with the person who recorded it, except maybe the bass could have been nudged and.
Sure.
And like, I don't know whose fault that is, you know?
Right.
And I will say I play fast all the time.
So fast.
I play fast. You play slow. Did you know that?
I do.
You know? Yep.
I did.
You play.
I either play slow or, here's the reason why I play slow.
And I'm not trying to say slow. Slow is in like you're too slow. Like you come in later than you need to. And I always come in earlier. And our producer Matt knows this, and like I told one time we were playing, and I was like, he's playing too slow, and he's like, he always does. I'll fix it.
Yeah, it is true because like I know this is about me because just the way that I like my history of as a member of bands. I've always been a lead guitarist, and I pride myself on being able to think of parts like pretty on the spot, pretty wet, like pretty quickly, and like they're pretty good usually. But it requires me to. I'm always playing behind the beat, though. It's kind of the same thing with the organ and like Rolling Stone. It's behind
because he didn't know
live.
the chords,
right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that's like part of my style that like unfortunately is a nightmare for producers.
It's actually not that bad if you know what you're looking for. That's what like because I remember one time we were doing something, and invariably it takes a long time. You might get frustrated with someone else doing a part, and I remember like talking to Matt, being like, just stop him. He's playing like slow. And Matt's like, he does every time. I'll just fix it. And he didn't even care. He was like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. That's Matt though.
Now I know. Know. And dude, I started like paying attention to me, and I play too fast.
Yeah.
I jump it.
Yeah. It's all right.
Do you think Kiss and Kate got there with their record?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of think they did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that
why not? Tell me why not.
I think they were touching on sound ideas, but they didn't like lean into it enough.
I am not convinced there's much more going on with this band than what they showed us. So I think that if there was, they would have showed us. I know that recording takes a long time, but there's nothing here varied enough to be like, we reached so hard and missed it. Everything they were trying to do, they got there, I think. And I think evidence of this is that one is track 3. I think was dope.
Yeah. I think I'm just like really hooked on track 4 with the flu. Like I think I don't know. I'm thinking of kind of like that.
Did you want to see more of that or something?
Yeah, I think I wanted more like world music sounds. You know what I mean? Like that's psychedelic to me.
Hey, they're a young band, so hopefully we get to see more of that from them. Let's talk about Sugartone. Did they get there?
No.
This one, yeah, okay. This one, my assessment is I got to think about it. So I want to hear what you have to say about it and why.
So I think this goes with like again listening to the record and being. Point Nemo comes on, it's a rocker. You're like, yes, this is cool. Like, I know exactly what's going to happen. And then it doesn't. And I think that's where I think it doesn't reach it. Because I think it's so disjointed that, like, you really can't. I don't know what this band sounds like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what they sound like. I do feel like I'm putting like their best intentions in mind when I think of them, and I want to think of them as like they're going for something really cool, but then they have these instincts that bring them to something so it's just like blah about like blues rock, where it's like
just the disjointedness. I think really like even to a casual listener is like a little much.
I think they got there. I think this band made these songs, and it sounds exactly like how they recorded it.
Yeah.
And I think it's no more, no less. I think that they bit off way more than they can chew, and I think they probably went into it from my experience. And here's what experience comes into play. As a recording artist, I have bit off more than I can chew. I have spent more money on recording than I have put out records of those recordings. I have unfinished recordings. Recording's expensive, and I've wasted time. And sometimes when you do this, you like, fuck it, we paid. It's called sunken cost fallacy.
Yeah.
It happens with gamblers. You put all this money into a recording, and you're like, well, I'm going to put this shit out. I fucking paid for it. What if it's garbage, though? It's almost worth it to like, it's almost worth $1,000 to not put out bad music.
Totally. I do really, on like a personal level between you and I, like respect that we held off with Drug Dealer till
that we held off on until it was ready. Yeah, we did record Drug Dealer on Episodic Memory, and it just didn't fit.
It didn't fit, and
it sounded wrong. Right?
It sounded wrong, but then like we revisited it like literally years later. Like it sounds right now.
Three years later, we did nothing different to it, and we're like, "Yep, it's time."
That's the song now.
And
like, sounds good.
We were right.
Yeah, we were ready to re-record it.
I think I was listening to, I don't know what it was. I was in the car, And I think John Weir, Dan's brother, was giving me a ride somewhere. Maybe he might have like picked me up from work or something. We were cruising. I was like, "Oh, you want to hear an unreleased track?" And we were listening to it, and I was like, "This fucking sounds so good. Like this is gonna be on feeling it." You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I fear that this band got sucked into a sunken cost fallacy about this music and put it out. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're not even a band anymore.
Interesting.
Well, we're gonna, for episode 5 recap, I'm gonna look up and see if this band even exists anymore.
Well, because I did actually go to their website and do some research.
You did?
I did.
Well, okay, let's do it right now. What do you got?
So when I went to their website, they did have shows booked for, and maybe they played it in February of 2020. So as of then, at least, they were a band. And I think from their Facebook, they did a live stream later in 2020.
Okay, so they might be a band still.
Yeah.
Ish. Okay. Okay. Well then, hopefully you guys like listen to what we said and take it to heart. I don't know if this album is something to be ashamed of by any means. I think that you guys bit off a little more than you can chew, and this could have just been an EP.
Here's the thing:
been
is
better.
like putting out music and being vulnerable is hard.
I've never put out a full length. I never have enough music recorded and a collection to put out a full length. And this is long. These are like 4 or 5 minute long songs, right?
Yeah, your
God.
records are so short.
Well,
I think Becoming is the longest one you've put out.
Been Around?
Becoming, Been Around.
Yeah, Been Around is the longest one we've done by like a few.
Just because of Feeling It is so long.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like this record, you know, here's what I'm going to talk about. Did I have fun listening to it? Hell yeah. I had a great time listening to this record. I had a fun time talking about it.
Yeah.
I am going to listen to a couple of these songs again. I think there's a couple of like the more Bowie-ish sounding tracks are like pretty cool, man. And I'm kind of like more into that kind of style of vocal nowadays. The more I get older, I think.
Artists who have submitted to us, let it be known that once it is safe to have shows, I want to see all you live.
Oh, I will, dude. I will book.
I would love to see this band live.
I will book these bands, and I will pay you money to play. Like we will make you money, and I don't want them to think that we don't like your band or that we're dicks or whatever. And like we are dicks, fine.
We are dicks.
But the point is that like keep making this music and then prove us wrong. I want someone to be like, here's my fucking record, you dick. Now say some shit and have it be amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And until then, we're gonna have to just be honest about your music.
Yeah. Thank you for submitting, though. Thank you for trusting two strangers.
Exactly, and I think that they are going to know where we're coming from. I actually am Facebook friends with the guy from this band. He friended me after submitting, so I think he's been sitting with me for a few weeks. This airs in a couple weeks. I think he knows where I'm coming from.
Gotcha. I would rate this. My rating.
Oh yeah, ratings.
I'm gonna give it a year-old Red Stripe.
I'm gonna just. It's like sandbags. It's like sandbagging. You know what I mean? So I think that's where I'm gonna go. I wanted to like this record.
Me too.
And I honestly, I had like low expectations because I'd never heard of this band. And then by the time that Point Nemo came on, I had really high, and then I got let down, and then it came back. So it was a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster,
and that's why I had to preface.
And I did have
this is uneven.
A blast listening to this.
I had a blast. Yeah. But you don't think you'll listen to it again?
No.
Okay. Well, would you recommend it?
To my dad, yes.
Okay. I think I'd recommend it to some people. I think
Yeah.
I would recommend, if you hadn't listened to this, I would be like, check out Point Nemo. You'd like this song.
Yeah, totally.
And you'd be like, yeah. And I was really hoping that it was going to all be that
Dude,
kind
Point
of shit.
Nemo is a ripper.
I thought it was going to be all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So that I think is my main statement here.
Cool. Thank you again for sticking with us. Episode 5. Email us any comments at bandscamps@gmail.com. Any artist submissions can be sent there too. Visit our webpage, bandscamps.com. Visit us on Instagram at bandscamps_ for just really dumb memes.
Yeah. We're just trying to get traction. Like we're critics. We're here to show off our personality. You know what I mean?
We're just trying to have a little fun.
And we are gonna try to grab your attention in new and varied ways. So
we're entertainers.
If you want to have fun with us, go ahead. If you don't, feel free to block us.
Totally.
Yep. Thanks, Dan. That's awesome, man. Good.
Yeah, that was really
chat
fun
today. I had a great time with you today.
Me too, man.
So,
love you, dude.
Yeah, I love you too. Listeners, this has been episode 5. Join us next week for episode 6.
This has been a Grand Rhapsody production. Executive produced by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez.